much energy running right now. I'm not nervous, like Emma said, but I am a bit nervous because, you know, if Einstein is here, if Kennedy is here, Nostradamus is here, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna have to forget about that, right? So let's get started. My name is Michelle Walling, and I'm a holistic life coach. I'm also a writer. I'm a radio show host, and I'm a webmaster. I have several websites that you can find on my website, which is michellewalling.com. michellewalling.com. I do personal life coaching sessions in person or by telephone or by Skype, and you can find out more information on that website. And I'm here representing N5D.com, which is a metaphysical, spiritual, and esoteric website on the web with lots of information for awakening people on a spiritual path. Just tons of videos and articles, years worth, by my partner, Greg Prescott. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, which is where Heike showed the Roswell incident cover-up took place. Great place. Now, I really love my hometown. I moved to Sarasota, Florida, just last year, and I'm really enjoying being on the beach, the 99% quartz crystal sands, the white beaches we have in Florida. I have a strong affinity for the salt water there. It's very cleansing. As we come to the closing of this wonderful gathering, the grand finale will be Setsu's films, and as I review the last week in my mind, I see everything was so masterfully planned on a higher level down to the presenters, the 2 days spent before the conference for the public getting to know each other, and even the placement time of the speakers in order. It's just been absolutely amazing. And I sit here in awe of what has unfolded, and I have immense gratitude to Yane and to everyone here I've met, and to share my story in the short time that we have allotted. I'm going to try to do my best to get finished on time here. And when I share my information, just keep in mind that the only thing I can really share is my own experience, and take what you really resonate with and just leave the rest, just let it float away, because we all are having our own experience in a different way. This has been a really tough road for many of us incarnated on the planet at this time. I've had to learn not to judge my emotional outbursts, especially after one particular night I had. This night I began to cry completely uncontrollably, and my poor husband at the time was lying in bed next to me, and I just sobbed straight for 2 hours. I couldn't speak, and he knew not to say anything, bless his heart. When I woke up the next morning, I found that the Fukushima event had occurred at that moment. So I have a very strong connection empathically with everything that happens on the planet, and I've had to learn to understand not to judge that. And I think a lot of you in here have strong feelings as well. You feel a lot of things, and sometimes you don't understand, you don't know why. And I just encourage you to sit with that and feel it and let it flow through you, especially the men who have been taught, you know, not to feel. It's very important that we let this move through us. My whole life, I've always felt like I didn't fit in. I guess I would add to the end of that until right now. As a child, many children knew I was different, and I was sometimes the last to be picked for games until they figured out that I was really good at pretty much a lot of games, and then they were always trying to pick me. I never fit into any particular group in high school, but I was always able to morph, kind of like morph into what their group was, and always made friends in every single group, so that was really interesting. I call myself a chameleon sometimes. The school was especially torturous for me, sitting in a classroom and memorizing things in a square building, when I really wanted to be moving around and doing other things, and at that time probably partying and boys, things like that. For over 20 years, I led corporate life and climbed the ladder of the corporate life. And I married my first husband, and I have just one child, a son. He's 19 now. I watched my son grow up in daycare and public school while my husband and I both worked just to raise a family. And I've just seen him. I just can't believe it's been so long since he's grown up. I did, because of the stress involved in trying to raise a family in this reality, it was very, very stressful for my ex-husband. And we did divorce when my son was 7 years old. This man has since passed when my son was 16 years old. I wasn't, of course, married to him. This life was just too hard for him. But I kept on climbing the ladder because, after the divorce, I was a single mom, and that gave me the inspiration to work very, very hard in the corporate world and try to be somebody, right? I had a lot of masks. I did a lot of things. But I have a degree in business, and so I became an office manager. I'm very organizational. And I explain all this up to the point to where in 2010 I had found myself at the top of the ladder of oil field consulting with my husband, who I was crying with before. And he was a top-level oil field executive, and we ran a company together, a consulting company. And he was in charge as a consultant for the rig that was involved in the BP oil spill. He and our crew were let go, dissolved 1 year before the spill, and he was in charge of safety valves and equipment to make sure there were no failures on the rig. So I didn't really know anything at the time. I didn't put two and two together. I did find it very interesting that we were fired from the job, and then I watched it on TV explode or have some small fire, as the media reported, with a leak. And then I kind of let that go, and I became very unfulfilled, depressed, and I wondered, why couldn't I ever find happiness? I had money, I had a husband who loved me, I had everything I could ever desire. I had traveled, to Europe. I had done everything on my bucket list. Why couldn't I be happy? I had this overwhelming sense of grief and depression and a very large hole inside of me that I was trying to figure out what was happening. And we've kind of labeled that now as going through what they call the dark night of the soul, where you really begin to question who you are, why you're here, and why can't you be happy, and what do you really need to be doing with your life. So I began to follow clues that were left for me. I went down a lot of different things like ghosts and past life experiences and in between life, past life regression information from many specialists. And I began to learn about other dimensions in the fourth dimension, where ghosts are in the astral realm. But it was not until I heard the Pleiadians channeled through Barbara Marciniak that I really began to, something clicked in me. And I thought, the stars, that's it. We haven't ever been told that there was life on any other planets around us. Then I came across Dolores Cannon's material about the 3 waves of volunteers coming to Earth to help. And I dedicated my whole life from that point. 2010 was what I consider my awakening time, although I look back over my life and I see how things connect together to prepare me for that time. But I received the soul call, basically is what you call it, where your soul kind of knocks on the door and wakes you up. And since then, I've been given knowledge about past lives. I was a founding member of the Knights Templar. I was an Essene at Qumran. It was many, many, many things, but that ties into a lot of information that Emma and I have talked about. Emma has confirmed a lot of things for me. I have met someone who is actually from the ship that I am existing on in another reality. She's not only my star sister, but my soul sister. So this weekend, as you can imagine, when you find, someone that close to you, it's been amazing for me. And I have so much gratitude. I find it very synchronistic that I was here with my soul family, some of them who I don't have permission to tell them or to even tell you, but they as well were Knights Templar. We were here on Friday the 13th together, which is when the Pope ordered the Templars to be killed. And that's started the bad luck myth about Friday the 13th. So these are just small things that have happened. I've got like a list this long I'm not going to go into. When I realized I was from the stars and Earth was not my home, I called out to the universe to come pick me up. I'm like, I don't want to live on this planet. The energy here is just too dense for me, and I just don't want to be here. And we have free will, but no, that wasn't going to happen because I would have been very disappointed. I just needed to see the right path and to start following it. And I asked for a fast track to get caught up. I just wanted to know the truth about everything. And I questioned everything in my reality. And I became a truth seeker with one of my websites called howtoexitthematrix.com. I also became open and honest enough to say that I was a starseed and created a website called cosmicstarseeds.com where I have all of my radio show, all of my articles and everything that I've created. It's also a lot of stuff on N5D as well, but I also am interested in helping out the star children who are, here carrying a high vibration. So just to summarize my background, because a lot of people have asked me to go into that. I found one of my star family members in 2013 after I divorced out of the oil field industry. My husband was not willing to give up the power and money and control that comes with that, and I couldn't possibly stay in the oil field industry knowing what that whole industry is about. So I found Greg Prescott very synchronistically, and we began working together, and he asked that I write articles for N5D, and so that's where Yane found me through my radio shows and articles. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what is a starseed. And Vernon said yesterday that Mother Earth, and today that Mother Earth has been crying out for help, and that no one was listening. And I'm here to say, yes, we are. We did, and we're here. And starseeds come from many other places in the universe to help, and we've left our families, we've left our children, and we've sent forth a part of us to come incarnate here, to be here. And we'll talk about how that happens in just a moment. And awakened starseeds are aware that they are multidimensional in nature, that at the same time, in no time, they are having other lifetimes from their soul, okay? Many starseeds have a great longing for home, and they carry a sense of impatience and dedication to get their job done so that they can return as fast as possible to their families. To understand my part of the story, I'd like to get into a little bit of creation itself. And so, we can only put words to this, and so I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna weave a little web of a story for you about creation. And in the beginning, there actually was thought. It was just consciousness, energy, love. And then there was the word, let there be light. And source, fractally, I'm going to call God source, all that is. I like the word source. Separated itself into souls. And the first souls, as far as I am aware in my studies and from what I can confirm, were called angels. And there was one group of angels that had a job to just mirror love back to Source, so Source knew what it was, and to hold the space and to be there. And another group of angels were called cherubim, and they were their job was to be messengers of vibration and carry light and information as expansion was to occur, so that the information would get back to Source. They also can, hold Akashic records or be a librarian with Akashic records. And then another group was soul groups were created. One soul group was created to make sure that the cycles of expansion and contraction for experience, for Source to send out a part of itself and for it to come back, would happen on time. And, so there'd be a beginning and an ending of cycles. There's several cycles of time, by the way. Then in all, there were, as far as I know, this could, I'm just going by what I know, there was 12 soul groups created, as far as I know. Just in this universe, oversouls, which is an oversoul is also called a monad, and that is a group of souls within oneness, separated from Source, as Source separated out. So fractally, Source also separated into, within the 12 groups of souls, there were some that were creator souls. So they would go out and they would create universes. And then the souls within the oversouls could decide together if they wanted to go together and go into one of these universes and experience creation and create physical beings, create life, plants, animals, and things, and be a part of that creation themselves by further splintering themselves. And I didn't mention before that all this splintering that occurs from the one consciousness is all in fractalization, meaning equal, but smaller parts, but equal in creator ability. As long as you're connected to creator, then you can create. When you separate yourself from Source, you no longer have that power of creation. You have to copy and twist and change. As far as I know, there were 12 universes created for them to play in, and each universe was unique. And our universe is a universe of free will, where everything is allowed. And many planets were created, solar systems, planets, all of this, symbiotic relationship, galaxies. And like I said, it was created to have fun, to experience your own creation and have a physical incarnation. Things were much different than when bodies were created, and as Scott has mentioned, our bodies would last many years. We could come and go as we pleased. We could even leave our body open or put it in stasis and be able to come back after a very long period of time, or allow somebody else to jump into that body when we leave. It wasn't a need for death for the body. It was totally different than it is now. But this caused a little bit of a problem, because many started liking their creation and their bodies, and they began staying for way longer than 1,000 years. They just didn't want to leave. They became forgetful of who they were, and that they, were supposed to kind of like grow. And then they really began to forget even more who they were, and began to decide that they would like to play God themselves, and to have control of this creation and try to, take over creation. But Source saw this, and Source decided to give them something to do, some homework, so to speak. And the call went out to creator gods, as you want to call them, to create a place that was, that many different forms of life from all over the universe could be brought to. And it could be called kind of a living library, and a template would be created that would include all of these animals, plants, different beings, And creation happens with a template, and the template would be taken to other places, and this kind of planet could be recreated for people to go and enjoy and have experience being physical. And one of the projects, this project was called Terra, and it was later called Earth. It took millions of years to get it ready for visitors, of course, and it required caretakers. And the caretakers began again to stay longer than they should have. And because they did that, they began to even more forget who they were and get further away from connecting with Source, remembering who they were. And some of them became so removed from Source and split themselves up into so many little pieces that they literally became fully vested in their creation. And they began to think that they were all that is. So they forgot. So therein lies the ET problem. And Scott explains some of the galactic wars with the beings who were cut off from Source. And they didn't have energy, and they had to steal energy from other people, from other beings, in any way that they could. And Earth, the way it was created, where Earth is connected with Source, and every human body that is created is connected to the Earth, so we're all created to Source, looked like a really good idea to take over that creation and use physical bodies for batteries to be able to steal. So they they made modifications to the human form, put chakras in it, and different things that they could plug into, just like we plug into the wall socket to get energy. And you can't blame them, really. I mean, Source wasn't upset at this. This was all being sent back, and it was all inside of a bubble of experience. It's all an experience. So it's been a long battle in this galaxy, though, between the light and the dark, and the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, the angels and demons. And as Yanni has described, black and white and yin and yang, and, the masculine and feminine, just seems like it's been very extreme polarities instead of just a little of this or a little of that, hasn't it? But it does help to, when you think about trying to understand what's happened here, it does help to think about creation and how everything came from Source, so that we can let go of judgment, or even trying to understand with our brain, which has been split in two hemispheres. And eventually, the beings that forgot that they came from Source, they would need to really start to find their way back, or to remember that, because there was that one being, that one oversoul I told you, that was responsible for the cycles of time and making sure that expansion happened and contraction happened, where things would come back to Source, because Source didn't want to stay splintered forever, right? So I think from there, what happened is, I think I left out this, oh, here, it's down here. I'll talk about that in a minute. So what went wrong, what really went wrong here, I feel, and I've, this is just my experience, and I confirmed a lot of things with Emma, and she was just like, yeah, that's true. It doesn't mean that it's true for you, but I feel like what happened is there was an infiltration on our universe from beings from another universe. When you go into a universe to incarnate, you're supposed to experience everything you'd like to experience in that universe, and when you're finished, go back to Source and then figure out where you want to go next, maybe another universe. But there's different rules to each universes, and if you just hop from one universe to the next, you're not connected kind of with the creator of that universe, and you're not familiar with the rules of that universe. And, I don't like to use the word rules, but for our understanding, there's rules. The way things are, vibration, things like that. So I don't think that they premeditated to do any harm. I think they were absolutely bored in their universe and decided they were going to hop over once they found out. And I remember reading something about they intuitively started hearing, they somehow were beginning to communicate with people from our universe. And so they decided they'd come here, and when they got here, I don't know how it happened, there was some kind of rip in time and space, fabric of time and space. But when they got here, they realized that it cut off their connection to their universe, source, creation, energy. So here we go, other beings from other universes that don't have any energy. And they traveled around and had to conquer. They were definitely intelligent conquerors. They had a lot of technology. Well, they found the Milky Way galaxy, and they found Earth. And they saw the beings that were running Earth were taking energy because they had not had an energy connection. And they thought they would join in with that. So they became the controllers of the extraterrestrials that had incarnated for so long and stayed in bodies, and it's just, it just keeps getting a little more convoluted, right? This is just a general story to kind of get an idea of how this could have happened. And Emma confirmed with me as well that what these beings did is they had technology to travel back in time, and they're very brilliant, and they thought, we'll go back in time to the time where the Milky Way galaxy was created, and one of us will sit on the board of creation, the board where they meet, and they get together and they take a template and they program it, and they make a galaxy. And we'll infiltrate, and we'll change the template just slightly. We'll change the ones and zeros on that template to where it will always be an extreme one way or the other, flipping back and forth, but it will never be in balance, and that will always give us a way to get energy, because there'll always be emotional energy, there'll always be, the light will always be fighting, the dark will always be fighting. And as long as people are fighting, it's a brilliant idea. So that's what I feel like that they did, because I have had a very strong feeling that the template or this creation is very screwed up. And I do believe that this went all the way back to Source, and I think Source actually got very screwed up. I mean, think about it. There's a huge imbalance here on Earth. But there was always going to be a plan to fix this. To make a long story short, eventually between the beings from another universe, the extraterrestrials who forgot who they were, the technology that they were using, domination and control, and the negative vibrations between collectively from humanity, the vibration of the planet lowered to the third dimension. And creation itself is a self-adaptive environment. It is always changing and always moving. So they created reincarnation instead of just incarnation. Incarnate, enjoy, and leave. So the reincarnation was created to get these people out of the bodies, because they were wanting to stay in the bodies for thousands of years and not leave. So they began to modify the bodies so that they would die. However, that reincarnation cycle had a lot of flaws and then began to be tampered with. And we fast forward to see that those who were overseeing the creation of Earth that were not really allowed to be involved in it and changing, they had to let things evolve naturally, but yet they were guiding at the same time. They saw many future possible timelines where Earth, all of the possible timelines showed Earth to be destroyed. And so that's when something, had to really happen to change. And I don't think at the time they understood that the template for the galaxy had been manipulated. And so it took an aha moment for them to figure that out. And Source figured that out, of course. Source knew everything. So I use this as an example for those who seek answers to get an idea of how we got here. And as Mr. Laszlo said yesterday, The key to solving this problem is raising consciousness and getting out of this template of reality that was created that has this extreme flaw in it, and moving into a pristine template the way it was supposed to be. So we're basically going to somehow travel back in time and either undo or recreate and destroy the template. One of those things. I'm not an expert in that, but that's what I feel. So many starseeds that came here chose the time that they were going to wake up, and they're waking up in droves because I am so connected with so many people that read in 5D, which is in the top 25,000 websites in the world. I can see how our numbers have increased in proof of how many people are actually seeking answers, and it's beautiful hope that the world is waking up. Just because it's not and may not be in our direct reality. I can tell you in the United States, you can go to the grocery store and strike up a conversation either on spirituality, metaphysical, extraterrestrials, go to the beach and have these conversations with people. So it is happening. So when these starseeds wake up, they want to know, what can I do to help? What is my mission? What am I here for? And just being here on the planet was a huge thing because they're carrying a vibration on a soul level that is very much needed for the planet and for the humanity in support. But here are some things that you can do if you'd like to work on moving towards the goal of this, creating this new template or reality, this new earth, and the other one basically fading away. And that would be healing of yourself, starting with yourself. And we have to make ourselves whole again. There's a lot of different fractals of us out there in different lifetimes, forgetting who they are. Every time you have a very strong trauma in a lifetime, a part of you may just jump right out and hang out here and be frozen in time. Because it doesn't want to be in the body. It's too horrible. I mean, if you're thrown into a gladiator arena where a lion is, charging towards you and is about to eat you, you're going to jump out of your body. Whoa, I don't want any part of that. Sometimes you can have, fractals get caught, frozen, and I always imagine bringing all of my fractals of experience into my awareness now and sending love and healing. Doing this is not an easy job because you'll be faced with reality situations that unfold, difficulties that you have to work through to heal that in your reality, and you think, I thought I got all my work done, and then something's coming up, right? But you're never given quite too much that you can handle if you remember who you are, and that's why you came here. For people who don't have that remembrance, it's been very difficult for them. We can heal ourselves with self-love and gratitude and forgiveness. You're seeing a pattern of these things repeated over and over again, and it's very necessary for repetition here. We have to deprogram and reprogram, okay? I connect to water to do all my work, whether it be the salt water of the ocean or the water in my bath with added Himalayan sea salt and baking soda for a healing, cleansing bath. Give gratitude to the water and to the salt and baking soda. I actually cleanse and balance my aura and my organs, my blood, my DNA, everything. I have ritual talk to myself. Shower is an amazing place for me to receive information, and the hardest part about the shower is there's no way to write things down. So I get an idea and it's going in my head over and over and over again, and I'm trying to hurry and get all done, and I get out and go write it down. But I learned to take a pen and paper in the bathroom with me because I'm sitting over water, right? I'm serious. on the toilet. That's what I'm talking about there. And so it's so funny, I share my deepest secrets with you. So water is an amplifier and carrier of vibration. And I saw that it just happen in our reality when we were sitting a few days ago, and I had a question that I asked, and I wrote the second question down. And it carried from me over here, over here, over here, over here, and the person that answered the first question began starting to answer the second question. Moved right through the water, because by the time that we had all connected with each other, got familiar with each other, we were vibrating at the same frequency. And so it was a carrier. The water was a carrier between us. So we can start locally with our healing here, and then we can spread our light as we begin. When you clear and heal, it expands and opens you up to be able to bring more light in. We'll talk about light in just a moment. I also do work to spread this light to the planet, to the solar system, and to the galaxy as well. And I feel that's how we're going to heal what's happened in the galaxies is here, right here, in this body, all of us together. So this is about raising your vibrational frequency through healing and light, and that is going to shift us out. There are many creative ways to raise your vibrational frequency besides what has been shared with you with water, putting your love and intention in the water and drinking it. It's huge. But you can sing, you can dance, you can laugh, you can make love with a true partner, with someone that you're deeply in love with. And of course, there's that gratitude and forgiveness again. You can get back to your roots, meaning you can ground with Mother Earth. How many people today went outside to ground with the planet? I cannot stress to you how important this is. Mishka, you stressed when everyone got here. But I have even gone to the extreme to buy a grounding sheet on my bed that plugs into the grounding plug in the wall, so that when I sleep, I'm grounded, if I can't get outside all the time to ground. So there's really no excuses. It's so helpful. We have an energy field, an aura, and it has to be in balance. And anytime we don't get outside or get our feet on the ground, our hands on the ground in the dirt with Mother Earth, our aura gets a little wampus. We can also do it in meditation, and we can imagine our feet growing roots and connecting all the way down to the center of the planet. It's so much easier just to walk outside and spend time in nature. So, and Emma told us the story about becoming water, and she's become a tree. She's merged with the tree and followed the water within the tree. She's sharing that with you for a very important reason. And the shaman Nikolai showed us how to connect with nature by imitating, to connect with or actually be nature, to be these animals, to say these sounds, and to imitate being an animal. We have to be aware of our thoughts, words, and actions. Since now we have scientific evidence through Dr. Emoto's work that the vibration of these words and these thoughts and the emotions can program your own water. It's so hard to do, to be responsible for yourself. And it's a lifelong master work to not react in a negative way and to argue and to get angry. And I can say that I'm now working on that right now for myself more than anything. And I think Emma would agree with that forgiveness and love and understanding that we all came from Source. What is there to be angry at? We're being angry at ourselves. We're torturing ourselves. Doesn't mean we got to roll over and let someone, do things to us. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we have an understanding that that person is doing that is not aware of what they're doing. They're not aware. And you can help them by sending them love. You don't have to do it to their face. You can do it in your mind, in your heart. My direct experience, I told you about the shower. I also like to get in the pool. That's a great thing. And after doing your inner work of these things, of clearing, healing, balancing your energy, I connect. Another thing I do is I connect with my higher self. To me, that seems to be the mental mind that connects your body with your oversoul. Kind of a carrier wave, and probably water, I don't know, now that I think about it. My higher self. May have many higher selves. I think a lot of our spirit guides are actually those lifetimes that I was talking about that are happening at the same time. Some of our spirit guides are actually our higher selves that have a better understanding than we do in this reality here. And they have lots of they have lots of ideas and suggestions they can give. We don't want to give our power too much away to them and keep asking for all the answers from them, but they are actually us. So when they say go within, that you kind of can cheat, and you can do that. You can ask them because they are you. That's kind of within you. So, and I do that a lot, and I've received a lot of guidance that way. So in using, what we're trying to do is we're trying to center in that 0-point connection. And then that's when people start to receive the guidance of what their next mission is, if they choose to go ahead and do more than just being incarnate here and holding the light and holding love. So I use my own personal journey and experience, and by saying that I say you have to learn how to trust yourself. Learn how to trust the inner guidance that you have and your intuition. And you do that just by messing up, by screwing up. You get this feeling when you go to do something, it just doesn't feel right, but you do it anyway. And then you realize later on why you shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Or you get lost and you're driving around and you're at a stop sign. Should I turn left or should I turn right? And you're really trying to feel, how do I feel about turning left? How do I feel about turning right? And you make a decision and it's probably the wrong one. And you realize later, because, get over here and it's a dead end road. Then you go back and you think about, what did I feel when I thought about turning left or turning right? And that's how you begin to learn to trust your own intuition. You have to trust yourself in order to stand in your own power. You need to find your own voice. Find your voice, and it makes you feel so much better to do something, to contribute, to act, to do something. And that'll make you feel fulfilled, and it'll start to fill that empty hole that you have inside of you. You fill it up with love and fill it up with action and with sharing. And don't be afraid about what other people think about you. You got to let go of that and quit judging others for having their own journey. I say you gotta. You don't have to do anything, but I feel so strongly about these words that I just want to make sure I'm making myself very clear. This is how you do it. I am here telling you my journey, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding after this weekend. That everything I've been doing has worked for me. I do encourage you, just create your own way of doing it, right? Be your authentic self, which is unconditional love. I've had relationships with people who say, stubborn men, who say, you can't change me. I don't want to change. I shouldn't have to change. No, bye. We all change every day, every moment. And when someone's not their authentic self, they can have a facade with the ego, thinking that they are themselves. But unless they're truly kind, compassionate, and living in love and sharing love, they're not their authentic self, period. I can see it, but they can't. So, and that, I'm not perfect. We're working on this together. We're trying to mirror each other and support each other so that we can see when we've gotten to very close to our authentic self, right? As Ted mentioned, Einstein said that love is the most powerful energy that there is. And I think love is the ultimate answer. Somehow love equals water. The planet and everything on it is being bathed in love in the form of light. Perhaps from hearing my voice today and connecting with my words, you will have hope that there is a plan. The plan has been explained by Professor Pollack very scientifically. And that plan is for the water in our bodies to shift into the fourth phase. Our water is to become liquid crystal through the infusion of light. Mr. Laszlo confirmed that a bifurcation is occurring, or a shift. Those who act on this opportunity will become super coherent or superhuman. And those who do not choose that will split ways. If you're not able to reestablish your own connection to water and become coherent with those around you who have become coherent, people will die out. I hate to use the word die because one of my main topics that I talk about is we never, ever, ever die. We are a fractal of Source. We are all that is, has been, and ever will be. But they will leave their body, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to stay in the body and transform it and start a new humanity on a new earth. The way I see it, when we receive the light that is coming to the planet, which has been coming in waves, some strong, we get a little break, we get some more strong ones. There's going to be a really big, strong wave coming at one time. The light beings will help us and tell us what to do. Our DNA is going to become fully activated. All of those junk DNA cells, strands in our cells, will become activated. Earth is receiving this light as well and will make the shift with us, symbiotically, into a new world, a fifth world, where the requirement to enter through the pearly gates requires that your water matches that water that the gates is made of, and that's how you travel through a stargate. You have to vibrationally match that stargate or a wormhole, or else you can't go from point A to point B and travel through space and time as well. Everything I've talked about is my definition of ascension, and that was one of my main topics as a starseed. Many people are feeling overwhelmed with information right now. There's so much out there to read. And I think I'm kind of guilty, we put so much out there to read. So what do you do when you become overwhelmed? I did a radio show one time. I wrote an article and just said, if you're really, truly overwhelmed, you can't discern what's truth, everything that's been twisted, the truth that we've been talking about today has been twisted into a new age light and love twists, throw it all out. It's not going to hurt you. Throw all that stuff out. Focus on what I talked about today. That's really all that matters, is you getting you vibrating the right way. Then you can help others. A lot of people jump into healing and helping and they haven't done the inner work themselves. We talked about that yesterday. Just a moment. Let me finish, and we'll take that. Thank you. Stop fighting and put your swords down. As a Templar, I can say that. I've been fighting for lots of lifetimes for the light. Fighting for the light. That's what they want us to do, is fight. That's that imbalance that we have. Find your balance. As Emmanuel showed us in his movie, Femme, the feminine has been dominated by the masculine, and that doesn't just mean man and woman, that means the masculine and feminine within us. And as Nikolai explained to us, a bird is able to float in the air without flapping its wings because it's balanced. Become like nature again, right? Yana used the white dove as a representation of the dreamers. So here we have a bird theme as well, along with water. The dream walkers have created a new earth, and Emma has seen it. She's actually walked through a doorway and looked at it and came back to help us. I don't know, I might have stayed. I will stay one day. My feeling is that people want to know when. When is this going to happen? Well, what I'm not going to tell you it's going to take years, because my words are very powerful. I'm going to say that it's going to happen soon. You've been hearing soon for a long time if you've been following any kind of spiritual path. But I know that I will find the fifth dimension within the next year or two personally. And I've had very powerful psychics say that they've seen me there, because I'm on a quest to do that. I'll find the doorway somehow. But I also am going to go home to my family on the ship and spend some time there. And when I do that, that's in no time. There's no time, so I can come back, come and go as I please. So we'll make it happen. I mean, it will happen when we make it happen. And what you say is what you create. Ted talked today about the power of meditation and gave his example of the ceasefire between Israeli and the Palestinians. Why not just go straight into a meditation and create shifting into the new earth? We can't fix this template of creation that was created in a lower consciousness. We have to shift our focus into the new consciousness and a new creation. So we're spinning our wheels trying to fix things on the planet when we need, in my opinion, and I believe in magic, and I have a very broad imagination, but in my opinion, that's what I think I'm going to focus on. Although locally it does great wonders to help keep people alive on the planet, yes, I totally agree. If we could take that kind of focus and show that we can heal water, we can heal people, we can do this, let's just all get together and shift. I'm going to put it, that's my simple answer, my simplicity. So we can be the example, and we can fly like the dove. Thank you.